Hi everyone. So I'm not going to keep you long since this is the closing of the evening. So I'm Francesca, and I'm going to explain a little bit about Greater Than, but what I actually want to show you is this. So how does looking at this make you feel? So quite often, I was in the situation with my community Ouishare, presenting things like this, in a context where we had an ambition to be collaborative and open and engage people in decisions. And then I was confronted with the empty, overwhelmed stares of my colleagues on what to do about something like this. This is the budget of Ouishare Fest, one of them, the big conference that we've done a few times in Barcelona and in Paris. And this specific budget represents a problem that I felt myself faced with that has led me to what I'm working on today. And so basically, Ouishare is a network and a community that has the intention to work in a much more horizontal, collaborative way and enable people to share responsibility on decision making. And an important hypothesis that me and my colleagues share is that you can't just let people participate in decisions if they don't also do the hard part that relates to financial decisions and making budgets and actually understanding that part. So seeing the challenges of trying to do this with the ugly spreadsheets like what you just saw led me to start investigating what are different ways that we could engage people in a more accessible way to start getting involved in these types of financial decisions. And so that led me to CoBudget. So CoBudget is an open source software tool that was originally developed in New Zealand by a collective called Enspiral. And so I became very active in this network. And I and my colleagues, we started developing further this software application. But much more than that, it's really a practice of collaborative funding. And so basically, the concept of CoBudget is that it's a tool and a practice that makes it easy for groups to allocate funds in a transparent and a collaborative way. And so the basic concept is really easy to understand. Basically, you have a bunch of people or an organization that pool money, and then different individuals can propose ideas. They can vote with their money on which ideas they would like to see happen, and that gives you a transparent overview of which things have been funded and who wanted to contribute to what. In a way, it's quite similar to Decidim, the Decidim Barcelona platform, as sort of a crowdfunding mechanism, but it's for inside organizations and to help people together participate in this kind of proposal process. So I wanted to give you some examples to make it more concrete what this can actually look like and different ways this is being used. So one example that I like quite a lot is a cooperative that's based in London called Outlandish. So they're a software development cooperative. And since software development is a good business, they actually generate quite a lot of surplus. And so they use CoBudget to allocate the surplus to social impact projects and pay themselves to do work on these projects that they really care about. And so they've actually spent £192,000 since they've been using CoBudget. Since 2015. This is just a screenshot of the tool of one platform that they funded to build, which was about social monitoring of the impact of investments in projects in their local area. So I'd like to share one other example, which shows sort of the diversity of how this practice of collaborative funding can be used. And so that's a network called the League of Intrapreneurs. It's a membership network, and basically the members are people that are change makers inside big organizations that want to create change. And so they have this big international community of ambassadors. And so last year we ran a collaborative funding process with them, where there was one funder, and they had given $30K to the group. And so each community got a chunk of the budget to basically decide autonomously what they would like to fund it on. So here you can see, for instance, there were like all types of different events that they ran in different parts of the world. You can see some of the locations that they're in, like Chile, Brazil, Madrid, Social Entrepreneur Week. So basically, the process enabled people to be super like inspirational and creative with what they would like to do with the money. And what was really interesting is that, hello? Oh, okay. That the two founders, who are two amazing females that really embody the spirit of sharing leadership, that they, for the first time, just were like, great, we can let the community decide what they want to do with this money, because we don't actually know what the best choice is. And so what was also very surprising is how high the engagement was, because people that received funds to decide what to spend them on, that was like a very strong way to engage people. And that really brings me to one key concept that we're really interested in, and it's more like a question, which is money makes collaboration real, or money makes things tangible and really concrete. And so one thing that we've seen in the work that we've been doing over the past year and a half with groups and trying to implement these kind of processes is that money is really a proxy or a placeholder for power and value flows of any sorts. So you can do this kind of thing with time or with any other kind of measure of value you would like to use. And that it's something that can be extremely powerful and create a lot of change, but that you also need to be ready for as a team. So I guess to close, I just wanted to say that for us in our journey of developing this practice, we're doing a lot of work in a more holistic sense with how organizations can become more self-managed and do all the different aspects of that, like collaborative decision-making and shared ownership. And that this financial bit is really one key piece, but it needs to come with all the others, because otherwise, it needs to, basically you can't do one part without the rest, if that makes sense. So if you're curious in that or would like to run an experiment of collaborative funding, let me know. It's an open source tool that you can find on CoBudget.co, so it's also on GitHub, and there's many different ways that you could engage, so I'm keen to talk more. Thank you.